Welcome to Creative Tian channel. This is the part 2 of machine knitting a vest with the rolled neck. And this is a very simple design, so I think even beginners can do it. And last time we figured out the design and the calculation. My final vest will be about 19 inches wide and 24 inches high, up to the rolled neck. I already did the first panel. Here is a rolled neck, and this is a decrease of the shoulder. I'm going to use short roll. It's actually pretty easy. And here is a sleeve. I have the hand manipulated ribbon so it doesn't curl. And the rest are very straightforward. It's just stockinette stitch. And for the beginning, I start with 88 stitches, knit 12 rows in a smaller tension, and then 1 row of bigger tension. Because my main tension is 6, so I use 8 for my big tension. So after that row of tension 8, I'm going to change to main tension. So I use tension 6, and I just need 80 rows. That's the part up to the sleeves. I will hand manipulate 3 rows of ribbon and make the purl stitches. Here is my chart for that ribbon. For the outermost column, I have plain knitting, and the second stitch or the second column, I will start to reform the stitch into purl, and then skip 1, reform, skip 1, reform. And it's the same on the other side. And for the ribbon, according to my calculation, I have about 60 rows. So I'm changing my row counter back to 000. If you want, you can also knit the next row, add in a different color yarn, so you can see the bottom row of your reformed stitch. But you can also count it, it's the same. I'm going to start with 5 rows first and reform stitches from there. And make sure I put back the weight. And I will knit my first 5 rows. Now it's time to reform, and you will need the latch hook. And I start from the second stitch, drop it off, and drop off 5 rows. And you grab that chain. Now you can see the 5 horizontal bars, and we'll just reform it back up. So that's 1 column done. And then we skip 1, go to the next stitch, 5 row down. And I like to grab that loop, make it bigger first before I start reforming. Now we have 5 lines, and we will latch back. So those will be purl stitches. And then hand it back to the needle. And the next one is the same. We skip 1 stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll grab the loop, make it a little bit bigger first. It's easier this way. And latch back up. Okay, now we are done with the left side. We'll do the same on the right side. We start from the second stitch, drop it, insert into the loop and start latching up. Okay, now the first 5 rows are reformed, and we will continue doing the same. And you can knit maybe 10 rows at a time, so you don't have to do every 5 rows. It's up to you. And we will continue for 60 rows. And then we'll start to do the shoulder decrease. Originally, I was just going to bind off from each end, but the show row is actually pretty easy too. So to do the show row, we have to push the hold button. If you're using LK150, that's a Russell lever 1. And based on my chart, I have 15 stitches to be decreased, besides 6 ribbon stitches by the sleeves. So I divide it into 4 stitches, 4 stitches, 3, 2, 1, and 1 stitches. And first we have to decrease the 6 ribbon stitches on both sides. So we'll put those stitches to the D position, so you will not knit. You will be on hold. And we start by pulling our needles to the D position, that's opposite to the carriage, and knit 1 row. And we are going to move the yarn under the first stitch of the holding stitches. This way it will create a wrap, like the wrap and turn in hand knitting, so you will not create a hole. And at the same time, we want to decrease the 6 stitches on the other side too. So we pull out the 6 stitches on the other side of the carriage and knit 1 row. Then we will remember to move the yarn under the first stitch, and we will move out the stitches on the other side that we want to decrease. So the next one is 4 stitches, and we'll pull out 4 stitches. And we will just follow the chart, doing both sides at the same time. So we'll decrease 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1 stitches to finish the 15 stitches. The total row count will be doubled, and which is fine for me. I don't need all the shaping to be done in 6 rows. After I finish all the short row, I have 46 stitches left here. It will be the neck opening. And the next I'm going to cancel my hold button. And I'm going to knit 1 row all the way. And then I will start binding off one side, and then knit it back to the other side, and then I will bind off the other side, and all the live stitch will be the center neck opening. And then we will start knitting a few rows, so you will have a rolled neck. And I'm going to move all my needle to the D position, so the latch is almost slightly open. This way when we knit, it will be knit back to the B position. Same on the other side, because I want to knit every stitch on this row. Now this row is all knitted, I'm going to bind off the right side up to the neck. So all the shaping will be bound off. So I'm going to take off the yarn, use my transferring tool, make sure it's not too tight. Now I bind off until 23rd stitch where I put the marker is. Now I can put the yarn back to the carriage, and I will knit 1 row. So we'll knit back to the left side, and then we will bind off from the left side up to the neckline. Now we'll do the same bind off except from the left to right, and we'll stop at the left 23rd stitch. So we start from the second needle, transfer to the first needle, rub the yarn and knit, and then transfer the needle to the second needle. And we'll keep going until we go to the neckline. Now we finish all the shoulder shaping and binding off. We only have the neck opening left, and we're going to knit 6 rows straight and just bind off. Make sure all the empty needles are back to the A position. After seaming up, this is a final vest, and the front and back side are identical, the same. And you can see the rolled neck, and that's the sleeve, and the hem, it's the inside. Thank you for watching today, and see you next week.